Kalma.
Kalma.
Sarosh.
Kalma.
Logos.
Kalma.
Memra.
Logos. Sarosh.
Sarosh.
Memra.
Shabd.
Shabd.
Vak.
Vak.
Logos.
Kun.
Kun.
Ramdhun.
Dibdhun.
Ramdhun.
Bange Asmani.
Kun.
Kun. Akash Bani.
Bange Asmani.
Shabd.
Kalma.
Kalma.
Sarosh.
Memra.
Dibdhun.
Logos.
Kun.
Vak.
Kun.
Akash Bani.
Kun.
Dibdhun.
Kun.
Ramdhun.
Kun.
Bange Asmani. Kun.
아기야, 아름답고 예쁘게 잘 자라.
ישימך אלוהים כשרה, כרבקה, כרחל וכלאה.
Ignored.
Lost.
Suno na ba?
Lost.
Suno. Suno na.
Closing.
Suno na. Ignored.
Lost.
Ignored.
Blockage. Angst. Pit. Blockage. Disjointed. Blockage.
Sinking. Sinking.
Angst.
Sinking.
Quicksand drowning. Pushed to the side. Pushed to the side.
Caged?
Quicksand drowning. Disjointed.
Closing. In.
Disjointed. Crumbling.
Reticent.
Or stimulation.
Ignored.
Lost.
Suno na ba?
Lost.
Suno. Suno na.
Closing.
Suno na. Ignored. Ignored.
Blockage. Angst. Pit.
I ran to the cloister's fountain in the full pouring rain. The cloisters is a quiet space in a wise, embracing kind of way, speaking through silence. It was just me, the bubbling fountain, the stars, and God. God, everywhere. The grass was slick and green and swaying. I jumped into the fountain, long ruffled dress and all, the eyeshadow blooming away from my eyes, my hijab billowing in the water from above and around me. The feeling, how to describe? To be so one with mind and body and soul and heart and sky and God. All of us dancing. I giggled, I laughed, I sang, I laughed, really laughed, full-bodied. The ease of listening and responding to the rain, to these signs of Allah pouring from the sky, dripping from the leaves and grass, from the sturdy grey castle walls surrounding this sacred space. To sway, to spin slowly, eyes closed, face turned up to the skies, smile stretching. To submit to that moment, to drink the rains with my whole body, to grow roots in my stepping, stomping, splashing feet, to feel a joyful peace in the movement and the stillness and the rain of the night. And then I burst into rain.
꼬마야, 꼬마야, 뒤를 돌아라. 돌아서 돌아서 땅을 짚어라. 짚어서 짚어서 만세를 불러라. 불러서 불러서 잘 가거라. 꼬마야, 꼬마야, 뒤를 돌아라. 돌아서 돌아서 땅을 짚어라. 짚어서 짚어서 만세를 불러라. 불러서 불러서 잘 가거라.
I'm tired of living, but afraid of dying.
When I first came here, I didn't know it would take this long. When I first came here, I didn't know it would take this long. When I first came here, I didn't know it would take this long!
You are imprisoned here.
And not for a moment do you find peace. was on a solo trip in one of the most beautiful places where it seems as if someone had painted what you're seeing. But my heart was sinking. I wasn't happy. I wanted to be, but I couldn't be. I realized I couldn't force myself to feel one emotion just because it may sound more positive than another. Thankfully, I did not have to pretend because I was alone. So I decided to let myself feel. I roamed around in cute, lively streets with a melancholic spirit. I sat on sand, felt the water with a sinking heart. And then I saw the sunset. Sunsets are hard to explain. They're powerful, very powerful. Maybe because they bring the promise of a new day. And I realized I was feeling too strong, completely opposite emotions, pain and joy. And the verse, verily with hardship comes ease, makes a lot of sense. It doesn't mean, oh, good times will follow bad ones, but that bad times and good times can coexist. Sweet, isn't it?
I did my little brother. He was high at marginal manners and happily ate cow eyeballs from Nana's farm. But most distressing for me as an oldest sibling was that he didn't understand the concept of personal space, entering my room whenever, putting his elbow over my arm in the car, showing me dead animals while I was eating, etc. I would go to confession on Sundays and pray before entering the vestibule, asking God to forgive me for hating my little brother. I couldn't admit my sin to the priest, and I wasn't willing to ask God to help me love my brother. Forgiving me for hating him was the closest I could go. It wasn't until we were in high school together that I realized that I had loved him my whole life. I began to feel a fierce loyalty and admiration for him. It was weird. I wasn't even proud of him.
My mom had a really difficult time birthing my sister. Mom's labor lasted for 4 days. The whole time she wasn't allowed food in case she had to have an emergency C-section to save both her and the baby from hemorrhage. I was with them the whole time. But then, so quickly, it was all over. My mom pushed Chloe out, and we suddenly had this screaming and healthy, albeit tiny, newborn baby wailing. I remember marveling at her. I was amazed at this miracle baby, someone I didn't really understand my love for until she was there. A love I still can't comprehend. The nurse was cleaning Chloe up, and as Chloe wailed in disapproval, the nurse said, "Go ahead, you can talk to her, you know." And so I did. And Chloe immediately stopped crying and looked at me. She knew me. This baby was 30 seconds old. She knew nothing in this world, but she knew me, and she knew I was home too. I've been wrapped around that child's finger ever since, and it has no signs of changing.
아, 뭐가 좋은 거야 지금? 키워서 먹어주자는 거야 정말.
걔야?
걔는 무슨 걔예요? 지금 오기 전에 10분 지났는데.
그래, 걔야.
나 자꾸 걔를 찾아. 지금 걔를 찾는 게 아니라 우리 지금 10분 전에 만나가지고 일을 하기로 했는데 늦었으면은 뭐.
알겠지마?
이제 또 수박을 찾아. 아이고야, 어떡하냐? 어떡하면 좋냐?
지바.
아니에요. 깨 찾지 말고요. 늦은지 얘기해봐요.
지바.
왜 늦었어?
냥. 너 지바.
왜? 우리가? 아니 늦어놓고 너 어디가? 아 지금. 아 나 참 진짜. 이렇게 늦어놓고 어디 가는 거야?
I woke up this morning, remembering bearing my soul and fears to this woman I love. A time last year when I sat in her apartment, surrounded by chai and probably some chocolate. She always had some combination of the two. I broke down, remembering a time when my brother showed some feeling for me, when he thought there was a danger of us dying in the tear gas and the chaos that ensued. I had started to cry, surprised at the tears the memory of the protest still brought, bringing my hands toward my face and leaning toward her, hoping maybe to rest my head on her shoulder. Instead, she scooped me into her arms, placing my head over her heart, saying, "Come here," with her voice full of feeling. My hands were still tucked towards my chest, not quite making it to my face, but I was stunned. I heard her heartbeat, and for those moments I was moved so much it's not explicable, full of wonder about how just her act of bringing me closer could ease me. For a while I felt weightless. She was holding me. We breathed and breathed.
Once, in the dregs of depression, I bought myself flowers. Orangish pink mini carnations. I sat by my window, the one that led out onto the roof, and breathed, letting the sunlight wash over my eyes and face and through the roots of my hair. Warmed from the inside out, a moment of rest and clarity from the suffocating, smothering storm inside. A victory. I breathed some more and took a picture or two, wanting to remember those moments when I found a way to float. an act of love. I located me through that love and held her for a while.
My I saw you. You were in no other place. तू ही है.
It is thou.
It is thou. Ze ata.
Hu anta. Hu anta.
It is thou.
तू ही है.
It is tu. It is
Ze.
tu.
It is tu.
तू ही है.
It is thou.
तू ही है.
It is tu. Ze ata.
It is tu. It is thou.
It is thou. Ze
Hu
ata.
anta.
Is thou.
Anta.
Ata.
Du bist es.
It is thou.
It is thou.
It is
Tu hi
thou.
Du bist es.
It is tu.
तू ही है.
Du bist es. Du bist es.
Ata. Ze ata. Is
Du bist
Ze.
es.
thou. Ata. It is
तू ही है.
tu. It is tu. Ata. Ze ata. Thou. Ze ata. It is tu. Ze. It is tu. Ata. Oh, it is tu. It is tu.
times I have felt that my older self is saving me, especially in moments when my breath is crushed, my soul is crushed. Countless such moments. My older self comes clad in black and saves me. Or I go back down memory lane and have to save my 12-year-old self from someone who's not kind to me, is hurting me at some level. But recently, that 12-year-old has been my savior. I'm reclaiming myself in my myriad of forms, but especially my childhood. And once I began to do that, my childhood self became my savior. Someone pulling me out of an eternal abyss where I lodge myself sometimes, where no light enters, where no smile enters. But my childhood self does enter freely, my reclaimed self. It feels like a process, a cycle of reclaiming myself, and each self which I have left behind, I haven't really left behind because it is all part of me. The ugly, the sad, the good, the earthly, and the divine, all wrapped into one, saving each other, lending a helping hand, saying, I got your back, carry on, shouting this, assuring me. And once I hear my own voice consoling me, strengthening me, I don't need any other voice, because this voice is the unification of all other kind voices that have lifted me since eons.
When we got married in our church, we did what's called a laying on of hands. My wife and I stood in the center of the room, and everyone gathered in a circle and laid their hands on us. There were 200 people there surrounding us. People laid hands on each other's shoulders who couldn't reach us. It was a giant web of support. I felt like everyone in the room knew us, saw us, supported us, and was committing to be a part of the community of our lives. I felt so full. It was before the Persian New Year, and we were in the north of Iran. It is custom for families to visit their relatives' grave sites around the Persian New Year, which is celebrated just before spring. The earth is preparing itself to give birth to blossoms and sprouts that have been sleeping a long sleep for many winter nights. My husband, Barham, and I went to the grave of my paternal grandparents. These are also the grandparents of his mother because we share family relations. Many have said I am like this grandmother, both in appearance and in behavior. We arrived at their stones, and I could feel the delight of their presence. We stood there under the hazy sun with the crisp mountain breeze blowing by. I could feel their awe-filled smiles. How is it possible that these two came together on their own? No one suggested, arranged, forced these two. But they found each other, and it is helping our family stay close. This marriage is like the sticky sap of the maple trees, a sweet glue dripping through the heart of the trees, signaling winter has become spring. We sat by their gravestones, and I felt the ancestral connection pulsing through my skin. I wondered, was I imagining this connection? They say, if we want magic in our lives, we must make it ourselves.
जिसको तुमने अर्ज गुजारी, जो था हाथ पकड़ने वाला, जिस जा लागी नाव तुम्हारी, जिससे दुख का दारू मांगा, तोरे मंदिर में जो नहीं आया, वो तो तुम ही थे, वो तो तुम ही थे।